The global economy is being picked apart in broad daylight, and you are the one paying for it. Let's start with oil. Not because it's dramatic, because it sits underneath everything. Transport, food, manufacturing, logistics, you name it. When oil moves, it doesn't remain contained, it spreads. Now place that into geography, for instance. This conflict sits beside the Strait of Hormuz, we all know about that, a narrow strip of water carrying roughly a fifth of global oil supply. For decades, it worked on a simple assumption: free passage. That assumption is no longer reliable now. What's replacing isn't closure, it's control. Quiet, procedural, deniable. Ships are still moving, but not freely. They are being routed, observed, managed. And there's a small island called Larak Island there. Looks irrelevant on a map. In practice, it's a choke point. Routes are narrowing. Movement is being conditional. The system hasn't broken, but it has been rewritten. And it's not just oil moving through. LNG flows through it as well. Fertilizers, industrials, chemicals, even helium. Helium sounds niche, right? It isn't. It's used in semiconductor, manufacturing, wafer production, cooling, precision systems. So now you are not just talking about energy, you are talking about food, electricity, technology, and when those flows become less predictable, the impact multiplies. Fertilizer, for instance, feeds into food prices. LNG feeds into energy costs. Helium feeds into chips, and chips feed into everything. That's how a regional conflict becomes a global cost problem. Now, one thing is worth being clear about here. This isn't happening in isolation either. There are multiple actors involved with different narratives. But from a system perspective, that's not the point. What matters is leverage. Iran doesn't need to match military power. Its leverage sits in its geography, in energy, in control over a system everyone depends on. Apply pressure to Iran, and this is the pressure it applies back, not just regionally, globally. Even after the ceasefire, things haven't normalized. Traffic is still lower. Operators are still cautious. Ships are waiting, not because they can't move, because the terms are still unclear. And this matters enormously. Markets don't just react to disruption, they react to unpredictability. Lose predictability and costs rise. Insurance goes up, shipping takes longer, delays stack up. Each layer adds friction. Each layer adds cost, and those costs don't stay contained either. They pass through the system, into fuel, into food, into pretty much everything. Now here is the real shift. Before this conflict, markets expected inflation to fall, right? Even here in the UK, central banks were preparing to cut rates. That was the baseline, right? That hasn't changed. Now the concern isn't inflation staying high, it's inflation picking up again, re-accelerating. And if inflation rises while growth slows, you get stagflation. Central banks absolutely hate it. It's a nightmare for them. Raise rates, you hit growth. Cut rates, you fuel inflation. No clear, clean solution, only trade-offs. So markets are adjusting, rate cuts are being repriced, some expectations are moving higher, which means borrowing costs don't ease, they stay elevated. And this feeds directly into the households. Mortgages stay expensive, refinancing gets harder, real incomes get squeezed. So what starts as a geopolitics flows into monetary policy and ends up in your monthly expenses. And you don't even need to be involved to feel it. For instance, Britain hasn't sent forces. We never sent any of our forces. Most of Europe hasn't either. But the impact is immediate. Because this is not about participation, it's about dependence. If your economy relies on global energy and trade, you are exposed, whether you like it or not. And there is another very important layer to it. Europe isn't just dealing with energy pressure here, it's worth bearing in mind. There is rising demand for defense spending. Higher defense costs, higher energy costs, already stretched finances. This combination forces trade-offs. More borrowing, more pressure on budgets, right? Or more strain on households. None of these are neutral. Now look at the other side. Higher energy prices don't just create pain, they create winners as well. The US is now one of the largest energy producers in the world, particularly since the Iraq War. Higher oil and gas prices feed directly into its domestic sector, into revenue, into investment. At the same time, Russia adapts. Sanctions are still there, but they are no longer as rigid as they appear on paper. Energy continues to flow through different routes, different intermediaries, different pricing structures. In some cases, in some areas, restrictions are being relaxed. In other, they are simply being bypassed. And that's where the inconsistency becomes quite obvious, I think. Because you can't present someone as a strategic enemy while quietly allowing the system to keep working when it suits you. I don't think that's a strategy, that's hypocrisy in plain words. Publicly, the system looks constrained. In reality, it's still functioning, just in a way that's more convenient. So while some economies absorb higher costs, others continue to monetize the system, and that's the part people miss. This isn't just disruption, it's redistribution. Now bring that back to you. This isn't about headlines anymore, it's about position. Some parts of the systems are protected, some are benefiting, and some are absorbing the cost. And if you are relying purely on income, you are usually on the wrong side of that equation. Because when the system shifts like this, returns move towards what's scarce: energy, commodities, real assets, things the system cannot function without. So the question isn't just what's happening, it's where you sit within that system. Because right now, the system isn't breaking in my view. It's simply reallocating. And the difference between being exposed and being positioned is everything. This isn't something you are watching, it's something you are inside already. And the cost doesn't disappear, it lands somewhere. The only question is, does it land on you? Until next time, all the best.